You are Locked On Rams Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What a frustrating loss. What's going on, Ramley? Welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Rams Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Rams game here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Rams podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, I'm Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, specifically covering UCLA football and UCLA basketball as well with the Daily Bruin. Now a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Our team is the Rams, and our Rams, boy, did they not look good, at least on the offensive side of the ball. 2 turnovers, all sorts of negative plays, and an opportunity to go above 500 for the first time in 2024, but instead, the Rams fall 23-15 on Monday Night Football at SoFi Stadium against the Miami Dolphins. So many thoughts, so many takeaways. Really felt like a game that the Rams were never in, but also never out of. At the end of the day, a missed opportunity for the Rams to, like I said, go above 500, continue a really nice streak. They were 3-1 at home, but now they lose this one to fall to 3-2 at home. And just a frustrating game. Frustrating game because it didn't feel like the Dolphins won this game. It didn't really feel like either team wanted to win this game, but it really just feels like the Rams lost this game more than the Dolphins lost this game, and that's why the Rams fall to 4-5, now third in the NFC West. We'll get to the playoff implications of this loss because there are some certainly, but before we jump into all of it, quick shout out to everybody in here as always. The support has been great, both on the Rams Postcast, on my UCLA Postcast as well. Continue to support my man Pete Fox, also on this channel. He's holding it down for the Clippers, for USC. He was holding it down for the Dodgers for a while, all the way to the last game of the season. And we do have the Lakers Postcast coming up soon with another host. Excited for that. But shout out to everybody in here as always. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff as always. And also a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Now, where we start this one, it's with the offense. Obviously, any time that a Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay offense does not score a touchdown, it's a big deal. But why did they not score? Okay? It wasn't, in my opinion, what it's been, other times in the year, pretty obvious lack of talent on the outside, with Puka out, with Cooper out. Wasn't the lack of healthy bodies on the offensive line, actually got a few starters back on the offensive line. It was just an all-around failure by this offense because of way too many negative plays. And I'm not just talking about the two turnovers, the Matthew Stafford interception, the Kyren Williams fumble, both really costly, but just negative plays all over the place. I mean, look at how the Rams offense starts this game. 3-and-out punt, interception, 5-play punt, and then a first play fumble. Absolutely, we didn't even have an opportunity to get the offense going because before these drives were starting, they were already over. I mean, the first play of the game for the Rams offense, after you let the Dolphins march down the field in less than 3 minutes and score, how does the offense respond at home on Monday Night Football? Huge opportunity to go to 5-4. You lose 10 yards on the first play of the game. Getting a little bit cute, trying to get Kyren Williams going. Minus 10 yards on a pass. So obviously it's 2nd and 20. It wasn't even a penalty, and the drive feels over. You get 7 with the Kyren run. You go 10 to Allen. But, of course, this drive is over when it's 2nd and 20, right? So you lose 10 plays on the first play from scrimmage for your offense. What do you do in the next drive? 1-yard gain, incomplete pass, 3rd and 9, minus 10 yards again. All right, so you've got 2 drives, 6 plays, 2 3-and-outs, and 2 plays of negative 10 yards. An abysmal pass, and then a Stafford sack on 3rd down on the second drive. So not only, it's not like we were watching Jalen Ramsey make diving pass deflections. I mean, there were a couple sacks that we will certainly get to, but it didn't feel like even this Dolphins defensive line took over the game or anything. Just negative plays. hurting the Rams every drive. Those first two right there. Then, of course, it doesn't get any more negative than an interception. And sure, it was deflected by Calais Campbell, who, look at the Rams, making Calais Campbell look like prime Aaron Donald. He's 38 and probably should be retired. I mean, credit to him, but still, Calais Campbell takes this game over, deflects a Stafford pass for an interception. So frustrating, because at this point, the Rams defense was starting to get into a bit of a groove. After that awful first drive for the defense, you force a 3-and-out punt, you force a 6-play-and-out punt, and it looks like the Rams defense is picking it up. There's some momentum being built in the building, at home, Monday Night Football. Once again, we know it takes some time for fans to get into the building with the LA traffic, but at this point, you felt like there was some momentum. That pick hurt. And of course, a deflection is never going to be really on anybody's fault, but it just kind of continued the trend of negative plays killing this team. Then the next drive, at this point, it's 10-0, and what is it again? Negative plays. There looked like there was some momentum. Cooper Kupp for 7, Puka for 5. You had Kyron Williams get stuffed, but then 3 yards to Cooper Kupp. Another third down sack. So another basically 3-and-out. I mean, this one was 4 plays. Yippee yahoo. I mean, it's still a negative play killing another drive. The negative plays, obviously, I've said it maybe 400 times already. That's number one takeaway. And then the number two takeaway, abysmal on third down. We already mentioned it. I mean, it's hard to convert a third down when it's 2nd and 20 on the first drive, but a 3rd and 7 became a 10-yard sack, and then there a 3rd and manageable becomes another sack. So whenever you needed a big conversion on third down, you never got it, either because you were already way behind the sticks with negative plays earlier in the possession, or because on third down, you couldn't protect Stafford and had negative plays. 3 for 12 on third down. 3 for 12. That can't happen. That can't happen when you have all your skill players on the field. I mean, this is the healthiest the Rams have been all season. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, who didn't get ejected in this game. So you had both of them the whole game. You had Demarcus Robinson, barely used him. You had Tutu Atwell. You had multiple tight ends we were using today. We saw some Blake Corum early in the game. We saw Kyron Williams. Everybody was healthy in the skills positions. This Miami defense, I don't think they played like lights out or anything. But like I said, just the negative plays early and often in this game, killing the Rams. Now, we're going to get to the defense and why it deserves so much credit, where despite all of these mistakes by the Rams offense, this game was close the whole way through. But really the kind of the sequence that summed up this game for me was ironically a sequence that ended in the Rams' first 3 points of this game, but it sums up what this game was. Rams, like I said, they go punt, interception, punt, fumble. 5 plays or 5 drives with nothing. And the fumble comes after the Rams punt, the Dolphins get the ball, and in just 2 plays, they throw a pick. Tua throws it. Heck of an interception by Rosenboom. He was amazing all game for our Rams at the linebacker position. He makes a great pick. Now, there's a little bit of return. And this is all adds to the trend. It seems like it's a little play in the grand scheme of things, but it matters. 15-yard penalty for an illegal blindside block should be Rams ball at the 28. Instead, it's Rams ball at the 43. So you should already be inside the 30-yard line thinking touchdown, make it 10-7, you're right back in the game. But even on your best play, arguably of the whole night, an interception, you immediately take away momentum with the 15-yard penalty. I get it. It happens a lot. You know, Braden Fisk and defensive players are not trained to be blockers. It always happens on returns. But it goes from bad to worse when the 15-yard penalty becomes a first play fumble by Kyron Williams. Talk about taking all the life out of this team, out of the stadium, right? First, it was you start to slow down the Dolphins offense, all for Stafford to throw a pick on a tip ball. Sucks the momentum. Then you get a pick, and you should be inside the 30 despite your offense doing nothing. Penalty, first play fumble from Kyron Williams. Energy's sucked out. But wait, there's more. The defense continues to do its job, forces a fumble, back-to-back possessions with the turnover. Jared Verse hits Tua, forces the fumble, eventually gets the ball in the pile as well, and just like that, there's huge momentum for the Rams again. And so what happens here is what kind of sums it up for me. The defense not once, but twice bailed out the offense, gave them an opportunity. And what does the offense respond with? Nothing. You start at the 36, you gain 20 yards, and you kick a field goal. It's not good enough. Not good enough when your offense has done nothing all half and you get the ball inside the 40 twice and you walk away with 3 points total. I mean, the defense can't do much more than that. Give you the ball twice in plus territory, already doing their job, keeping it at 10-0 against a Dolphins offense who, I get it, they haven't been great this year, but let's be honest, they've been about as hurt as the Rams. They didn't have their quarterback for half the season. Tyreek Hill was banged up, didn't even know if he was going to play this one. This is about the healthiest they've been as well, and yet the Rams defense doing a decent job, keeping it at 10-0, forcing back-to-back turnovers, setting up the Rams offense twice, but once again, the Rams offense just didn't have it today. They didn't have it. And ironically, this was the only drive where there weren't any negative plays. And it starts pretty well. A 2nd and 10, 14-yard pass to Cooper Kupp. 1st and 10 at the 22. Kyron for 3. Puka for 3. But then once again, the other trend, the other issue in this one, 3rd down. You got a 3rd and 4. A 3rd and 4. And you can't convert. Costly. So despite the defense doing everything it can to make this a even game going to the half, it's 10-3, and then the defense does its job again. Another quick punt for the Dolphins. Luckily, the Rams are able to find some momentum before the end of the half, and thanks to Joshua Carty and a 55-yard bomb, it's a 4-point game at halftime. 4-point game at halftime, despite the offense doing absolutely nothing. Now, unfortunately, the offense didn't get any better in the second half, despite the defense keeping us in it all game long. And so when I come back from my first break, we'll break down what happened in the second half. We'll get into the defense and why it deserves a lot of credit, was easily the bright spot in this game. We'll go into the more nitty-gritty of what went wrong for the Rams, not just negative plays, but not taking advantage of certain advantages you have roster-wise. And then we'll, of course, talk about the implications for this one, because not only does this loss hurt, your opportunity, you have a chance to go above 500, which looks really good in the wild card race, but it was a big weekend in the NFC West for every team but the Rams, unfortunately. So we'll talk about that after the break as well. We'll be right back here after this first break on the Locked On Rams Postcast. I'll be right back. Now, today's edition of the Locked On Rams Postcast is for the first time brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Now, our friends over at 5 Hour Energy know that being a passionate football fan isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life. Amen. It takes a lot of energy to power through all-day tailgates, touchdown celebrations, or an agonizing second overtime, which is why they've created the Stand the Fan 5-Hour Energy Shot with a special flavor called Fan Fuel. The energy shot made just for superfans like you, the fans who are first in the parking lot and who are last to leave. We see you. Now, there's so many moments in a football game that get you fired up, and unfortunately, this game for the Rams didn't have a lot of them offensively. There were some for the defense, of course, getting us fired up, and then we kind of lost that energy both in the stadium and as someone watching it at home. But with 5-Hour Energy, I would have had that boost to go all game long despite the abysmal offense for the Rams today. So 5-Hour Energy knows that no matter what team you root for, being a fan requires heart, soul, and a whole lot of energy. Whether you're prepping for the big tailgate or ironing your jersey, your game day to-do list is always a mile long. That's why the limited edition Stand the Fan 5-Hour Energy Shot is here to help keep you fueled throughout the season. What's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it is, do it with a 5-Hour Energy, available on 5hourenergy.com, which is shipped nationwide. And today's show is also brought to you by the good friends at Prize Picks. Now, what is Prize Picks? Well, it's the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Now, there's so many reasons why Prize Picks is the best. I mean, not only is there the fact that it's legal in most states, whereas regular sports betting is not, but they have so many fun games, and so many opportunities to make money quickly. It's really easy to make a lineup. Prize Picks even invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect, and it puts their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And I'll tell you, when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes, which is nice because the last thing you want is to win some money and not even be able to take it out. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app today, use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game, baby. Run your game. Back here live on this not victorious edition of the Locked On Rams Postcast. Rams fall on Monday Night Football at SoFi Stadium, 23-15 to the Miami Dolphins. The 2-6 Miami Dolphins, albeit that record is deceiving. They were without Tua for multiple weeks. They've been banged up just like the Rams have been banged up, which is why this felt like a pretty even matchup coming in. The Rams were favored by, I believe, 2.5. The home team in the NFL usually gets around 2.5 points, so you could say it's a coin flip game on a neutral site. The Rams have the home field advantage with Miami having to travel across the country, and that's why it was a close game. But like I said at the opening, it felt like the Rams were never out of this game, but it didn't ever really feel like they were in this game. The closest they ever really felt was at halftime, being down just 10-6, despite their offense doing nothing. And you know, this is where some people might overreact and say this was the turning point of the game. I already told you what I thought was the turning point of the game. Missed opportunity to make it 10-7 early on, which would have made that second field goal make it a tie game at half. You know, you have multiple turnovers and you don't convert any into touchdowns in a game where you don't score a touchdown. Some people will point to this, the opening drive of the second half, big opportunity for the Rams to gain some momentum. They march all the way down the field, all to have a 1st and 10 completely blow up. Rams have it 1st and 10 at the Miami 28. Once again, inside the 30. Big opportunity to finally score that first touchdown of the game. Wild snap. Stafford fumbles. -4 yards. Or excuse me, not -4 yards at all. He recovers it after losing 9 yards and then loses 4 more, if that makes sense. So it goes from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 23. You only pick up 2 on a run, and it's 3rd and 21. You pick up 5. You got to kick a 52-yard field goal, but to make matters worse, you got a false start, another negative play. I mean, on a field goal, you're getting a false start, makes a 52-yard kick turn into a 57-yard kick, and that's asking a lot for a rookie in Joshua Cardi, who's not been great this year, to be honest. He's not been terrible, but he's not been amazing. He's not Mr. Bates over there for the Lions or anything. But you can't really expect a guy to make a 55-yarder before the half, then come out, make a 52-yarder, have that called back due to a false start, and then make a 57-yarder as well. Way too much to ask for really any kicker. And so you kind of felt like the second you see the ball go through the uprights, but it's called back for a false start, you have a feeling they're going to miss the next one. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. So another negative play, this one a false start. In the first half, it was sacks and interceptions and fumbles. So many negative plays. This one takes 3 points off the board. And boy, was it costly, because if it's 10-9, the Dolphins can go down and score a touchdown and still a one-score game. But instead, when the Dolphins do score a touchdown on the next drive, thanks to a couple short passes from Tua to Jonnu Smith, one that he breaks away for 33 yards, and then a nice little short touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill, it's 17-6 instead of 17-9. This should have still been a one-score game. But the missed field goal, which is caused by the false start, it's a 2-score game, and at this point you're thinking the Rams offense has done nothing all game, and now they're going to, erase an 11-point deficit? I don't know, but if they do so, they need to go down and score on this very next drive. Unfortunately, they march all the way down, get inside the 30 once again, 1st and 10 at the 26, all to, yep, you guessed it, get killed by a negative play on 3rd down. 3rd and 7 at the Miami 23, and they just blow it up. Stafford sacked, loses 12 yards, 3 for 12 on 3rd down once again. That was the 4th sack for a negative 36 yards. Negative plays galore. This one really costly once again. Credit to Joshua Cardi. Another 50-plus yard kick, 53 yards. He drills it, and he keeps it at a one-score game. So you got to give him credit once again. He goes 2 for 3 on the long 50-plus yarders. It's still a one-score game, despite how bad the Rams have been playing. And then the defense, unfortunately, they're kind of a bend-don't-break defense that can occasionally force the turnover. They already gave you their 2 turnovers in the first half, and in the second half, they were a bend-don't-break defense, but they needed to be the opposite. They needed to be a absolutely lockdown defense, and that's pretty hard to do when you're a young defensive team against a still, I'd say, close to elite Dolphins offense. And so you hold Miami to 3. They take 6 minutes off the clock, which hurts. You hold them to 3. Then the Rams march all the way down the field, all to third and goal, at the 4. Stafford misses a wide open Kyren Williams. I don't know what happened there. It felt like everyone in the broadcast, everyone watching the game, felt like Stafford was looking right at Kyren Williams on that 3rd and 4, but I guess he didn't see it. Either he didn't see it, or I kind of thought he saw Demarcus Robinson and Kyren, and his brain kind of did this in-between thing, and he didn't really, and he overthrew Kyren. Should have been an easy touchdown. It would have made it a much closer game. It would have been 20-16, or if you go for 2, 20-17, but instead you settle for another field goal, which forces your defense to have to be lights out once again, and once again, it wasn't terrible. Holds Miami to 3, and a long 3 at that. If Sanders misses the 50-yard kick, Rams have an opportunity to tie this game at 20, but he makes the 50-yard kick. The Rams missed a 50-plus yard kick because of a false start, and it's just those little things, those negative plays, it all killed the Rams. Of course, with 2 minutes left, they drive down the field. At this point, it doesn't really matter. Fittingly, they still can't punch it in and have to settle for a field goal on 3rd down. Onside kick unsuccessful, and the Rams fall. But once again, you heard me say it a million times, negative plays, 3rd down. 3 for 12 on 3rd down, all sorts of negative plays. The Rams, despite getting sacked 4 times, despite having basically one of the worst running games of the season, they still outgained the Dolphins 327 to 238. Almost 100 yards is what the Rams almost outgained the Dolphins by, and yet they don't score a touchdown, okay? They didn't even lose the turnover battle, 2-2 on the turnover battle. Didn't even really get crushed that much in terms of the sack battle, if that makes sense. You get sacked 4 times, you lose 36 yards. They get sacked 3 times, they lose 36 yards. But the key difference here, the Rams go 3 of 12 on 3rd down. The Dolphins go 6 of 13, and the Dolphins make one more long field goal than the Rams do. Just those little bitty things in a game where you really played better, but you were never really in it because of all the mistakes. Now, we promised we talked about the defense. I've kind of been hinting at it all postcast so far. Bend, don't break, holding the Dolphins to a lot of field goals, and of course having those 2 turnovers in the first half that should have been turned into touchdowns, man. They should have been turned into touchdowns. So I think the Rams defense still deserves so much credit. Really enjoyed to be able to see on prime time, on a national stage, this defense kind of make its announcement to the league that we aren't just a young team that's going to get better. No, we've already gotten better, and we're already playing really, really well. The front 7 for the Rams continues to be fantastic. We saw Kobie Turner all over the place creating plays. Obviously, Jared Verse has the huge sack fumble, strips it, then ends up getting it at the bottom of the pile. He was great. We saw Young have a play or 2 in the backfield. Braden Fisk, maybe one of his quieter games. He wasn't terrible, though. Roseboom was fantastic. Not only did he have a pick, but he had 2 or 3 more pass deflections that were near picks. Some tackles in the backfield from Quentin Lake. Cam Curl had a huge tackle on what would have been a first down for the Dolphins to kind of ice the game. So the defense deserves a lot of credit. Honestly, the worst drive of the game for the Rams defense was the first one. A couple big plays to Jalen Waddle. I think it was 15 yards and 39 yards or something. And then the only really big play, despite going against Waddle and Hill and Mostert and Achane, all that stuff, the only other big play was that Jonnu Smith 5-yard kind of zone hitch route that somehow turns into a 33-yard gain because of the run after the catch. But other than that, you limit the big plays. You really only had one bad drive, the opening drive of the game, and the offense just leaves the Rams defense out to dry so many times in this one. I guess that's the main positive, is that even in a loss, you leave the game maybe feeling better about your team than you would expect after a loss, because we all know the Rams aren't going to go anywhere if this offense isn't elite, and certainly this game makes us worried that maybe this Rams offense isn't elite, but you do feel like this defense is not below average. This feels like an average at worst defense, which coming into the year, you did not think that was going to be the case at all. You felt like their chance to make a run in the playoffs would have been ultra elite offense, average defense, but it's kind of looking like slightly above average offense, average defense, maybe even slightly above average defense, and that's why you're right at that 500 level at 4-5. When we come back from this last break, we'll talk about that 4-5 record. We'll talk about what happened this weekend, specifically in the NFC West, and what it means for our playoff chances, because they took a huge blow this weekend, I'll be honest. We'll talk about that after our last break here on the Locked On Rams Postcast. another new sponsor today on the Locked On Rams Postcast, and it is Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. That's pretty good. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NFL and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at Omaha Steaks, OMAHA steaks.com, and an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. Minimum purchases may apply. And finally, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Back here live one more time on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Rams Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, part of the Locked On Podcast Network now, and a Rams fan just like you. And unfortunately, Ramley, we didn't have it tonight, certainly offensively at least. No touchdowns in a 23-15 loss on Monday Night Football to the Dolphins, to, very importantly, fall to 4-5. And that's what we'll talk about to wrap up this one. The implications of this loss, because the Rams come into this one with 3 straight wins. You survive against the Raiders, you have an impressive win against the Vikings, and then you win that thriller against Seattle, in Seattle against the Seahawks last week. What an opportunity this would have been. It really feels like a missed opportunity, because if you win this game, you're 5-4, then you're going to New England, which, as much as that win for the Patriots against the Bears was pretty impressive this week, you're expecting the Rams to win that game. So you're looking at an opportunity for the Rams to be, and I set this one up after the last show, you're talking about the Rams having won 5 in a row hosting the Eagles on Sunday Night Football at 6-4. And the Rams go from their awful start where they're 1-4 to 6-4 hosting the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. You win that game, you're 7-4. You've won 6 in a row. The whole world is suddenly like the Rams might be the class of the NFC other than the Lions. I mean, the Vikings are starting to look like frauds even though they survived. I mean, the Bears are out of it, right? It feels like it's Lions in a tier of their own. You know, the Eagles are flirting with that top spot. The Packers had a bye this week. They're kind of flirting with that spot. And another team, a shocking team to be flirting with one of those top spots in the AFC, is the leaders of our division, the Arizona Cardinals. And that's why this loss for the Rams tonight really hurts, because not only do the Niners survive in Tampa Bay, they're 5-4, above 500. CMC is back. They look like they can be, maybe not the Niners that we've seen the last few years, but certainly a competitive team that's going to go down to the wire in terms of making the playoffs. And then there's the Cardinals, who absolutely thump the New York Jets. And this New York Jets team, of course, they've been the talk of the NFL, how embarrassing they've been at times, but I don't care how you put it. 31-6, I believe, or something was the score in that one. It's an impressive win for the Cardinals, okay? I'm looking for the score here. Yeah, 31-6, impressive win. We know what they did to us in Arizona, 41-10. So, seems like against average opponents, the Cardinals thump. They might be a good team. After all, not just an exciting team, they might be a legit team. And so, the Cardinals are 6-4, the Niners are 5-4, and the Rams could have been 5-4 right there in the hunt. Instead, we're 4-5, and that hurts because now you're in third in the NFC West. You're a full game and a half, kind of 2 games back of Arizona, given they have the tiebreaker right now. Now, don't worry. there's still huge opportunities ahead for the Rams. You still play the Niners one more time. You still play the Cardinals one more time. You still play Seattle one more time. So plenty of opportunity to still win the NFC West, of course. But you win this game, you're just a half game back of the Cardinals. You're right back there. You're going to win next week at the Patriots, in my opinion. And you could have been, tied for, if not solely in first place in the NFC West going into that Sunday Night Football showdown against the Eagles. But now it kind of feels like if you lose to the Patriots next week, your season's over. Because then you're 4-6 playing the Eagles, and you fall to 4-7, the season's over, okay? So you have to win next week. I'm going to say they do. You go to 5-5, and now you've got a game against the Eagles that isn't necessarily must win, but it'll certainly hurt if you lose and fall to 5-6. Because say you lose that game, you're 5-6. You got to go to New Orleans, who, even at their worst, they just beat the Falcons. They're a tough team in that Superdome. I know it as someone who is also, a resident Saints fan, family from New Orleans. I've been to the Superdome. It is tough to play in, certainly is. So if you're 5-6 going to the Superdome, that is a must-win game. Absolutely a must-win game, and that's a dangerous game, especially with the history between the Rams and the Saints. Even if you survive that, you're 6-6, and then you've got Bills and Niners. You're not winning both of those games. I'm sorry, you're not. So say you win one of them, it's probably, I'd say probably you have a better chance at home against the Bills than at San Francisco. So say you're, an even record there at 7-7, but you lost to the Niners. It feels like the NFC West at that point might be out of the cards. Even if you run the table, you beat the Jets, you beat the Cardinals, you beat the Seahawks. That'd be a miraculous end of the year to go to 10-7. But I feel like there's going to be another team in the division that is 10-7. And if it's the Niners, then you don't have the tiebreaker there. If it's the Cardinals, you don't have the tiebreaker there. It'd be even, right? So really feels like obviously next week is a must win at New England. And then that Eagles game, it would have been a huge game in terms of making a statement in the NFC, but now it's the type of game there where you might have to win that game just to stay in the wild card hunt. So costly loss. If you win this game, I'd say the odds of the Rams making the playoffs, call me crazy, I'm putting at like 80%. And I'm thinking the NFC West is 50-50 whether or not we're going to win it. Now I say the NFC West, you got like a 20% chance. And to make the wild card, it's probably 50-50. So costly loss tonight in a game that really felt like you could have won it. You weren't your best, but the Dolphins certainly weren't their best either. Felt like a game at home against a non-conference team that you really should have won. And so this one's going to hurt for a while. Hopefully not for too long. You handle business against New England. You take a deep breath, and who knows what happens when Philly comes to town on Sunday Night Football. But this one's going to hurt, at least for the next 6 days. It will hurt. So with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Player of the game, I guess I'll give it to Kobie Turner. Felt like he was all over the place. I know Roseboom had the interception. I know Jared Verse had the strip sack fumble. But they're going to get their credit because they forced the turnovers. Give it to Turner because he was all over the place all night and deserves a lot of credit. But with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks for watching another edition of the Locked On Rams Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson. If you enjoyed this one, please hit that like button. Please. It gets it out to more Rams fans, to more NFL fans. So please hit that like button. Leave a comment. Let me know, will the Rams make the playoffs? Simple question. Will the Rams make the playoffs? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Not only do we got the Rams Postcast, we've got UCLA, we've got the Clippers, we've got, not the Dodgers anymore, but USC, and the Lakers coming up soon as well. So if you like LA sports, this is the place to be. If you like me, if you like Pete, if you like our future guest that hasn't even been named yet, our future host that is, hit that subscribe button, keep supporting the channel, and we're going to keep bringing you that good LA sports content. But with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Ramley, it was a tough one. Rams fall 23-15, but we'll turn it around next week. I'll be here on Sunday at 10 a.m. is the game, which means at around 1 p.m., I will be live breaking down what will hopefully be a Rams win. But with all that being said, I'm Gavin Carlson. Go Rams. We'll be okay, but this one hurts. Take care. Have a good week, everybody.